Peugeot's expertise in creating folding hardtop cars is well documented, and their 308cc is another impressive effort from the French marque in this sector. With neat styling and some clever interior touches, it looks a strong package. Peugeot has quite a history of folding hardtop cars like this 308cc. Few of us will be able to remember the 301, 401, 601 and 402 Eclipse convertibles of the 1930s, but there's a good chance that you'll be able to picture the cabriolet that kick-started the trend for fold-top metal canopies on affordable mainstream cars, the 206cc. Now, this model, launched at the turn of the century, was so successful that it spawned a whole series of competitors. Keen to keep market leadership, Peugeot not only bought us the 207cc in 2007 to keep control over the affordable Super Mini end of the sector, but also tried its hand at the folding metal roof CC concept in the market sector where most like-minded cars reside, that of larger Focus-sized family hatchback models. First up was the 307cc in 2003, but 2009 saw the French brand bringing us its much more polished replacement, this 308cc. Now settle down in the seat and you sit slightly lower than you would in a comparable 308 family hatch. Actually slightly lower than I would like, though it's intended to imbue this car with more of a sports car-like feel. Actually, there's no real need for this, given that, like all of its direct rivals, there's nothing particularly sports car-like about this model. As long as you accept that at the outset and don't mind the rather light power steering, which will probably appeal to this car's likely clientele, then generally the rest of the news is pretty good. The suspension, steering and braking systems have all been properly revised over the 308 hatch, and there's a wider track front and rear, producing a car that's far more assured than this model's frankly forgettable 307cc predecessor. The best way I can describe the improvement is to say that you could downsize from a prestigious BMW or Audi A5 open top and not feel too short-changed. True, there's a reason why you pay £10,000 or so more for these kinds of cars, but the French brand has definitely narrowed the gap. The engine wear is, unsurprisingly, carried over from other Peugeot models. So you get the pretty impressive petrol and diesel units used by and developed with BMW. That means a 120 brake horsepower VTI 1.6 or a 150 brake horsepower THP turbo petrol 1.6, or a couple of diesels, a 1.6 litre 110 brake horsepower HDI or a 140 brake horsepower 2 litre HDI. Now the only real downside is that these engines have another 170 kilograms to haul about over the weight of a normal 308 hatch. That's down to the extra body strengthening needed by the 308cc with its metal folding roof. Now that means that none of the variants in the CC range feels especially quick. None of them managed to crack the 10-second barrier from 0 to 60, so it's better if you can to tread up to the more powerful engines. Now what this car lacks in terms of frankly irrelevant jaw-dropping acceleration, it makes up for an easy mid-range flexibility and two qualities that are quite unusual in a relatively affordable car of this kind. First of all, impressive refinement, roof up, roof down, and that means that you can converse with your passenger even at quite high speeds, and also a surprisingly decent level of ride. Now, being around 4.5 metres long, 2 metres wide and with about 1,600 kilograms in curb weight, this Peugeot is never going to be Mazda MX-5 style chuckable through the twisties, but body roll is well controlled and there's quite a lot of cornering grip. Given that they've been restricted by the use of the same two-piece folding roof mechanism from the old 307cc, Peugeot's designers have done a pretty good job with this car. Now, Volkswagen's rival EOS uses a far more complex 5-piece folding metal roof mechanism arrangement to produce a result that has far less boot space and is only slightly prettier. The Peugeot's roof mechanism takes 20 seconds to go up or come down and can be operated at speeds of up to 7.5 miles an hour. The rear screen back here is much bigger than you'd expect to find in this class of car, making the cabin feel airy and making all-round visibility actually really good for a vehicle in this sector. The styling is pretty Peugeot generic at the front, but has attractive rear diffusers right at the back. The French designers have put considerable thought into the way that the 308cc will be used, and its four-seater claims are highlighted by an electrical tilt and slide adjustment feature that's designed into these front seats, these height adjustable front seats, to facilitate a more elegant entry into the back. Overall though, the 308cc can only really be viewed as an adult four-seater over relatively short journeys. Legroom isn't the best, and with the roof up, height might be a problem for taller passengers. For two though, roof down, this is a lovely way to travel. Buffeting on the move is minimal, even if you don't install the wind brake that fits just in front of the rear seats here. And I love this airwave system where you've got vents just below the headrest here to dispense warm air like a scarf to keep your neck toasty on cold mornings, encouraging you to keep the roof down even on a cold winter's day. And the boot, well, though it's comparable in size with the best in this sector, that's not saying a lot. You get 465 litres of space, but that of course drops dramatically when the roof's folded down to 266 litres. Still, though it may not be big, it is undeniably meticulously finished with a high quality carpet, chrome tie-down rings, straps for retaining the warning triangle, and a luggage net for enhanced versatility. There's even an underfloor compartment where the windstop can be stowed away. The central locking also locks storage spaces in the glove box and the central armrest, so valuables can be left in the car securely when the roof's down. Now, it's not hard to understand the reasons behind the stampede from major makers to produce metal folding hardtop cabriolets based on affordable mainstream family hatchbacks. These cars must be pretty profitable. A look at the list prices for this 308cc reveals that you'll be paying somewhere between £20,000 and £25,000, and that sounds quite a lot until you look at obvious rivals. And where's the competition? Well, before a discount anyway, a Ford Focus CC and a Vauxhall Astra twin top will cost you about the same, despite the fact that neither is as pretty or as nicely built. And that intrinsic build quality means that this Peugeot is really the only car in the sector that can rival the upmarket appeal of Volkswagen's EOS, a model that appeals to people that would rather like an upmarket BMW, Saab or Audi drop top but really can't afford one. Now, those buyers would do well to consider this Peugeot on the same terms. Whether you choose 120 or 150 brake horsepower 1.6 litre petrol options, or the 1.6 or 2 litre HDI diesels, or indeed a detuned automatic option, all 308cc models are pretty well equipped with alloy wheels, air conditioning and a decent stereo, plus a truly impressive safety provision. Should you turn the car over with the roof open, the rollover protection bars spring out of the back behind the rear headrests in just 20 milliseconds, and at the same time trigger off side, front and curtain airbags, which in a world first are incorporated into the front seats, so they cushion you quicker. As you'd expect for this kind of money, anti-lock brakes and an electronic stability program are all included as standard. Peugeot is proud of the fact that some of the best aerodynamic figures in the sector have been achieved by this 308cc, something that has benefits in terms of both fuel economy and emissions. The 2 litre HDI 140 model that I'm driving here should give you around 50 miles to the gallon on a regular basis, and your green credentials should be established as well with the diesel particulate filter that cleans up its act. In terms of emissions, expect to get around 155 grams per kilometre of CO2 from this car. A figure you can improve to 138 grams per kilometre of CO2 if you go for the 1.6 litre HDI. If you're after petrol power, then the THP 150 1.6 litre petrol model manages 177 grams per kilometre of CO2 and just under 40 miles to the gallon on a regular basis. Insurance, well, you shouldn't need to go above Group 14, even if you go for a pokier version. And residual values, well, they should better the 39% of original purchase price after 3 years or 36,000 miles that the old 307cc was able to achieve. The folding hardtop convertible car will remain an acquired taste for some time yet, but Peugeot looks to be pushing this genre in the right direction with this 308cc. There will inevitably be compromises to go with the obvious advantages of having a metal top that you can stow away at the flick of a switch. But as long as potential buyers go into it with their eyes open, there are some great ownership experiences to be had. Using some clever styling devices and some well-conceived interior solutions, this 308cc sets a high standard for other affordable cabriolets to aspire to. This market is all about style and desirability. Just as well then that this car, arguably the most impressive in Peugeot's long line of hardtop drop tops, seems to have a decent helping of both.